In this video, we will show you how to replace your driver's side outside door handle on this Jeep Grand Cherokee. This will be mounted to your driver's side door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. We'll locate the power window master switch. To dislodge this, use a plastic trim tool. We want to be very careful not to cause any damage to our door panel during the removal process. We'll carefully make our way underneath one of the edges here along the rear of this and gently pry it up and out of place. Under this area, we're going to disconnect this by dislodging the red locking tab here. Go ahead and pry that rearward and then squeeze the tab and pull this out of place. Once you have it disconnected, a quick inspection for corrosion. Now let's move up from there. We're going to pay attention to our inside door handle. If you were to look just behind this, you're going to find a small plastic panel. You can remove this by using an angled pick or even a small screwdriver, whatever works best for you. I'm just going to make my way underneath one of the lips here and we'll pull it out of place. Once you've dislodged it, we just want to give it a close inspection, make sure the locking tabs are still in good working order. Set that aside. Now behind this area, you're going to find a Phillips head screw and a 10mm headed mounting bolt. Let's start with the Phillips head screw. There's our Phillips. Let's make our way down into the grab handle. Down in here, you're going to find a plastic panel. Just go ahead and pop that out of place. Once again, you can use a small pick or a small screwdriver. In that port, you have a 7mm headed mounting bolt. Now we can start removing the inside door panel from the metal aspect of the door. We'll be using a plastic trim tool so we don't scratch our paint. When you remove this, keep in mind there is still going to be several things attached to the inside of the door panel. See if we can make our way in between this area using the trim tool and we'll start separating it. Just keep pulling this away. Now we can slide this away. Now as we pull this away, the inside door handle should just want to slide right out of here. Let's give that a quick inspection. We'll continue making our way down to our wiring harness. We do have one more wiring harness up along the top. Press in that locking tab, pull it out of place. Set your door panel aside. With the door panel out of the way, you're going to find that you have mounting hardware holding this inside panel in place. We need to make our way in and behind here to gain access to the outside door handle. This is held in place with several things. We'll have a bunch of 10mm headed bolts that make their way around, and you're also going to find plastic locking clips. For the locking clips, we're going to turn these clockwise until they fit right into their unlocked position. But we'll save those till after we remove each of our 10mm headed bolts. For this last 10mm headed bolt, I'm just going to start it back in a couple threads here. Now that I have all the bolts out of there with one mounting bolt still temporarily in place with a couple threads, we'll pause on the mounting hardware for this panel. Continuing on from here, we're going to dislodge our speaker from this area. This is held in place with 4 T20 Torx screws. You can see one on each corner. To dislodge the speaker from the wiring, you can go ahead and squeeze on that locking tab. We'll pull this out of place. As always, a quick inspection for corrosion. With that out of the way, let's make our way over here. You're going to find a trap door. We'll pull on the locking tab. Now continuing from here, we're going to reconnect our power window switch. Just press this in, listen for a click. We don't have to fully lock it because we will be removing it again. Let's continue on to putting the key in the on position. We're going to have to power the window down. While powering the window down, never put anything inside of either of these ports. It could potentially get damaged, or if it's your hands, you might get hurt. Now we can bring the window down. We're looking for a locking tab. Once you can see that locking tab, before you put anything inside the door panel, turn off key power. Looking inside this port on the window channel, you can see the locking tab. It's right behind the cable. We have to depress this, forcing it away from this area. You can use a flat blade screwdriver, pretty much anything that fits inside there. While pressing this with the key power off, once again, we'll carefully reach inside, dislodge the window by lifting it up. Once this lock is broken free, we'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side. To be able to pull the window up and out of here, we're going to use a plastic trim tool and gently pry up on the inside window channel here. We'll slide that out of place, quick inspection. Continuing from here, we'll lift the window up and out of place. Just have to twist it a little bit. Be extremely careful with this, we'll set it aside. Continuing from here, we're going to move along to those 3 plastic locking clips. For these, we're using a T25 Torx socket. We'll turn these clockwise until they fit into their corresponding grooves. That's the unlock position there. It's approximately a quarter turn. We've got our third one on the other side of the speaker port. Now we have a little bit of movement from this plastic panel, but to be able to gain a little bit more access, we can remove these 3 T25 mounting screws that are holding the door latch to the door. Now at this point, you can really move this around quite a bit. Essentially, we're going to have to make our way deep inside this area to gain access to the inboard side of the outside door handle, but there's also a small plug here. This will be helpful if you remove this as well. Use a small screwdriver or pick, whatever you have. We'll just pull it out of place, a quick inspection. Continuing from here, we're going to start dislodging the electrical connector on the outside door handle. For this, you can reach inside any of the ports leading into the door. Just take hold of that, squeeze in on the locking tab. Once it's disconnected, a quick inspection for corrosion, of course. Now continuing right next to that electrical connector, right here, you're going to find a mounting bolt. We're going to remove this bolt. We'll be using a 5/16 to remove this mounting bolt. A quick inspection of that mounting bolt. Continuing from here, you can see these two metal rods that lead to the outside door handle. We're going to have to dislodge each of these. Once they're dislodged, go ahead and inspect them, make sure they're not rotted or anything. Now for these, I'm just going to use an angle pick from along the top. They should each be locked into position. You just want to go ahead and dislodge that lock. Once you do have it dislodged, we'll remove the rod from the area. Like I said, a quick inspection of each rod as we continue on. Let's get the next one. There we are. Now we have two more 5/16 mounting screws holding this in place. For these, we'll make our way through this port in the door. Get this in position. Use a magnet so you don't drop the screw. Let's make our way along the outside of the door, take hold of the door handle, and we'll start removing it from the vehicle. Once it's out, we do have to remove the door lock. Just angle it out right along here. Now that we have that out of there, we can remove the door lock from along the backside. There it is, friend. Now that we have it out of there, let's make sure we clean and inspect the door where the brand new door handle will go. Let's use some parts cleaner on a clean rag here. Give it a quick wipe. We want to be careful not to scratch our paint. Now that we finished cleaning the door, it's time for installation of our brand new outside door handle. Before we install this in the door, let's have a quick look along the backside. We need to reinstall our lock assembly here. For this, you just want to carefully press it into position, aligning your mounting bolt holes. We'll press it all the way in. Now it should want to stay there. We'll continue on to installing this into the door. We're going to start in this port here, roll it into position. Once it's in position, we can start in our mounting bolts. Just carefully slide this through. As you bring it into position, you also need to make sure that this makes its way inside the port. You can either flex it down by hand, or you can try to pull on the door handle at the same time. Generally, that'll help it slide in. There we are. Now with this rested in here, let's go ahead and open the door and make our way on the inside. Now that we have the door handle slid into place and we're sure it's flush with the door, we can continue on with our 3 mounting bolts. We've got those two started in. Let's snug them up. Right there is bottomed out. Just take it a tiny bit further just to ensure they're properly secured. Now we can make our way to the forward mounting bolt. Okay, right there's bottomed out. Tiny bit further just to make sure it's properly secured in place. Let's continue on to our electrical wiring harness here. We're going to take this and press it into position. For this, we want to have the locking tab facing towards the inboard side of the door here. Line it up, press it in. Listen for an audible click. Give it a little tug to make sure that's properly secured. Let's continue on to our 2 rods along the outside there, which will connect to the door handle and to the door lock. Press the rods into place. After you feel as though you have them in the proper placement, you need to lock them down with their plastic locking tabs. There's that one. Let's do the same to the other. There we are. I've got that one pressed in. Let's make sure we lock it down as well. Just give that a little tug, make sure it's properly secured, double check the other one as well. Let's pay attention to our door latch now. We have our 3 Torx head mounting screws. I'm going to reach inside the door. We'll get this properly aligned. Then we can start in those mounting bolts. Just double check, make sure they're nice and tight. Before we go any further, let's test the functionality of our door latch and the outside door handle. We can do this by either using a 1/4 inch extension or a 1/4 inch driver. I'm going to take this and use this as if it's the striker attached to the body of the vehicle, and we shut the door. Now at this point, I'm putting outward pressure. Essentially, if I was opening the door, I can tell that this latch is holding it like it should. While holding pressure, I'm going to pull on that outside door handle and see if this releases. Assuming it does release, go ahead and test it one last time here. We're definitely latched in. Pull the handle. Now that we know everything functions as it should, let's continue on with our installation. Now back in here, we're going to temporarily attach that inside door panel. We'll just be using the plastic locks for this. Once we're sure everything lines up properly and our window is fully installed, we can install our 10mm headed mounting bolts. Let me get this one over here. Now it's time to carefully install our window glass. Obviously, you want to be extremely careful at all times. If it starts falling, be careful not to get caught in any pinch points and hurt yourself in any way. Start sliding this through from the outside, bringing it down at an angle. We'll carefully start sliding this down into position. Nice and slow. Slow and steady wins the race here. We're trying to align it with its mounting points down along the bottom through each one of these mounting ports. There we are. Start bringing this down into position. Before we push this down all the way to the lock position, let's confirm it's properly aligned on both areas. Now that we've confirmed that it's fully aligned, let's press it down into the lock position. Listen for a click from each side. A quick inspection to ensure it's properly locked in, and now we're going to tug upward on the window. Gently. We don't want to cause any damage, but we do need to make sure it's properly locked in position. If it slides up and out, it's not locked in. You need to continue on locking it in the proper position. The next thing we're going to do is test the functionality of the window to ensure it goes up and down as it should. We've got the key in the run position. Perfect. Turn off key power. We're sure it functions properly. We'll continue on with our mounting bolts. Start them in. Once all of them are started in, you can go ahead and tighten them up. They're all started. Let's snug them up. Go ahead and close up this port. We'll make sure the wiring's making its way through the corresponding slot. Let's connect this in. Listen for a click from that, a light tug. Now we can get this in position. It's time for our mounting screws. Once they're all started in, you know what to do. Just go ahead and snug them up. Reinstall this plastic protective panel. Now it's time for our window seal. We'll take this and get it in position. Should just slide right down. Press it in, make sure it's secured all the way across. Let's disconnect our window switch. Should be in the unlock position. We'll set this aside for now. Now it's time for our door panel. We have several wiring harnesses that we have to pay attention to. This upper one in the top corner will make its way on the inside of the door panel along the top corner as well. As we make our way down, we have the one that's for the window and door lock switches. That's going to make its way up and through the panel. We're not really going to connect that yet. But then we also have the speaker down here, which is this small wire connector. Now with that said, let's go ahead and start plugging these in. I'm just going to line it up, press it in, listen for a click. Get this upper one. For this wiring harness, this will just go up and through the door panel as I mentioned. So then the next thing we're going to pay attention to is our inside door handle. This needs to go ahead and slide right on through this area of the door panel. While pressing it into the proper position, now we're going to bring the door panel up nice and high. We have to align the door lock knob with the port in the door panel. It's going to go right down inside this area. So I can get this aligned. Start bringing this in close to the door. Now as we bring it over, you have several locking tabs that make their way all the way around. We need to continue moving this around until everything's properly aligned and then press it in. Okay, feels as though it's aligned. Let's go ahead and tap this. A light tug, and then a confirmation all the way around that we're completely mounted. With it secured, we can continue on inside the grab handle. We have our 7mm headed mounting bolt. Just go ahead and start it in, snug it up. There we are. We'll close that, make our way up to the inside door handle now. Up inside the inside door handle, we have the area for our Phillips head screw. We have our 10mm headed mounting bolt. Time for the protective cover. We've got our locking tabs. You just want to align it, press it in. Now it's time for installation of our window switch. We're going to align that electrical connector. We'll press it in. Listen for a click, a light tug, lock it in. Let's align this with the door panel. Once you have it aligned, just press it all the way down into the fully locked position. At this point, a light tug to ensure it's properly secured. Now let's put the key in the on position and test the functionality of the window switch. Perfect. Okay, friend, we finished the installation of our outside door handle. Go ahead and test the functionality with the window down one last time here. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.